Use that.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This one is working. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 18th June 2024. The report of the Committee on Regional Integration on consideration of business transacted by the East Africa Legislative Assembly at the fourth meeting of the first session of the Fifth Assembly held in Arusha, Tanzania from 11th to 23rd June 2023, and a study visit to the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, headquarters in Abuja, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I beg to lay.
Karemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 18th June 2024. Report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on its consideration of the Employment Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Committee on Regional Integration. Wanjiku Muya.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, the mics have a problem. I beg to give the notice of motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give the notice of the following motion that this House adopt the report of the Select Committee on Regional Integration on its consideration of business transacted by the East African Legislative Assembly at the fourth session of the first session of the Fifth Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 18th June 2024. Thank you.
Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi. Member for Westlands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that are aware that land is a critical but limited factor of protection that supports human habitation and food production, noting that agriculture is Kenya's economic mainstay. Appreciating that the Central Bank of Kenya, CBK, Monetary Policy Committee, Agriculture Sector Survey 2022 estimated the contribution of agriculture sector for the country's gross domestic product, GDP, to be 22% directly and 27% indirectly. Through these linkages with other sectors, further appreciating that the survey showed that the sector employs over 40% of Kenya's total population. Concerned that in the Land Reform Volume 3 publication, the Kenya Land Alliance land estimated that only 17% of the country's land mass is classified as suitable for rain-fed agriculture, while the remainder is either semi-arid or arid. Further concerned that the country's agriculture productivity has been decreasing over the years, cognizant of the fact that the decline in agriculture productivity is partly attributable to the shrinking agricultural land due to unplanned settlements that encroach on agricultural lands. Further concerned that agricultural lands in rural areas are continually being subdivided into small portions for build development, thereby diminishing size of land available for agriculture, noting that there is need to put in place measures for effective land use in the country in order to guarantee optimal use of agriculture. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the government, through the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Planning Developments, puts in place a policy framework for effective land use in rural areas by consolidating and designating zones
for built development, for commercial and residential developments with shared public utilities, and separate zones for agriculture use in order to arrest further diminishing of agricultural land and steady the country's agricultural productivity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Peter Nabulindo. Peter Nabulindo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that aware that Article 43, Section 1 of the Constitution entitles every person to the right to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to health care services. Further aware that every year, an estimated 14,000 children born in Kenya suffer from sickle cell and hemophilia diseases, which with the highest prevalence rate being within Western, Nyanza, and coastal regions. Concerned that failure to undertake sickle cell and hemophilia screening at birth hinders timely administration of appropriate treatment and other mitigation measures to forestall high infant mortality caused by preventable diseases like malaria. Cognizant that national population surveys does not include data on sickle cell and hemophilia diseases, concerned that the dearth of data and information negatively hinders prioritization of resources and implementation of sickle cell disease management programs. Recognizing that the number of infant deaths caused by the disease continues to grow as a result of underfunding due to lack of data on the number of cases of the killer disease. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the national government, through the Ministry of Health and in conjunction with county governments, conducts awareness and sensitization programs on sickle cell and hemophilia diseases and supports research and training for medical personnel on the two diseases. And B, puts in place measures for mandatory screening of newborn sickle cell and hemophilia diseases in all public health facilities in the country in order to create database for guide funding and other interventions aimed at curbing the diseases and reducing infant mortalities resulting from the disease. I beg to give notice.
Go on to the next. Order, honorable members. Order. Order. The conversations are too loud. I can barely hear
Thank
what
you,
the
Mr.
member
Speaker.
from Matungu is saying.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, my second motion is I beg to give notice of the following motion. That aware that commercial sugarcane production in Kenya was introduced in the early years of independence with an aim of eliminating dependence on sugar importation and contributing to economic transformation in the sugar belt and the country at large through agriculture. Acknowledging that at its pinnacle, the sugar industry significantly contributed to the country's national gross domestic product, GDP, and became one of the largest employers net importation of sugar, which negatively impacts on the balance of trade, noting that the decline in sugar production is attributable to factors such as mismanagement, interference, and unfair competition from cheap imported sugar. Further concerned that state-owned sugar millers like Mumia Sugar Company and Zoya Sugar Company ceased milling while owing farmers hundreds of millions of shillings. Appreciating that the government has been putting in place strategies, policies, and regulations to define roles of millers and major players and stakeholders in the sugar industry in a bid to revamp the sector. Concerned that the acute shortage of sugarcane resulting from mass abandonment of sugarcane farming continues to roll back initiatives for reviving sugar milling. Recognizing that further investment in revamping sugar companies before reviving sugarcane farming will occasion loss of the invested public funds instead of yielding success. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the national government, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, reviews the sugar development policies to provide that every investor miller sets aside definite funds for development of sugarcane farming, incentivizing farmers to embrace sugarcane growing and to enhance cane production in each of the respective zones. I beg to give notice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Oscar Nablindo. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Request for statements. Member for Kirinyaga County, Jane Jerry.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C. I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the murder of Mr. Derek Gashoki, who had finished his secondary school education in 2023 and was set to join the university. Honorable Speaker, on 18th May 2024, Mr. Derek Gashoki, aged 19 years, was shot dead by a police officer attached to Kenyaga Police Station at the Kendai Shopping Center. The unfortunate incident happened at 11 p.m. when police officers who were on patrol arrived at the market center where Mr. Derek Gashoki and his friends were playing pool. As a result, angry residents accompanying the deceased family stormed the Kenyaga police station and recorded a statement under OB number 23/29/5/24, demanding answers of the killing of their kin. Consequently, a police officer from Kenyaga police station was arrested following the killing. However, she was later released. Honorable Speaker, the family of the late Derek Gashoki has a right to know the details surrounding the incident and clarity on what led to such a loss of life. Most importantly, the security agencies must conduct a thorough investigation and provide clear and honest explanations to address any concerns and uphold trust in the justice system. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, provide a report from the relevant agencies regarding the status of the investigations into the death of Mr. Derek Gashoki at Kendai Shopping Center. 2, provide information on whether the police officer involved in the killing of Mr. Derek Gashoki has been apprehended and prosecuted, and explain measures the government has put in place to address extrajudicial killings and the use of excessive force by the police. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Tongoyo, that is to you. When can you bring a response? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So that. Next, Honorable Rael Kasiwai, member for West Pokot.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation regarding the current status of the construction of the Sioi Muruny Dam in West Pokot constituency, rather in Pokot South constituency, West Pokot County. Honorable Speaker, the Sioi Muruny Dam is a critical development project for West Pokot County designed to supply potable water to approximately 350,000 residents in Kapenguria, Kabich Beach, Chebareria towns, and adjacent regions who currently grapple with lack of access to clean and safe water. This multipurpose dam project, being implemented by the National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority, was initiated in March 2015 with an initial projected completion date of March 2018. However, it is deeply concerning that more than 6 years after the original scheduled completion date, the project remains unfinished. The prolonged delays have significantly impacted the residents of West Pokot County, infringing on their constitutional rights to access clean and safe water in adequate quantities as enshrined in Article 43, 1D of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation on the following. 1, what is the current status of Sioi Muruny Dam project and what are the reasons behind the delay in its completion? 2, what steps has the government undertaken to address the challenges that have led to the delay in the completion of this project? And 3, what measures are being taken by the ministry and National Water Harvesting Storage Authority to complete the Sioi Muruny Dam project, including budgetary allocation in the financial year 2024-2025 and revised timelines for full operationalization of the dam? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, Water and Blue Economy. Bowen, when can you bring the statement?
Honorable Speaker, in 2 weeks, we'll
2
bring a
weeks.
response.
Okay, 2 weeks it is. Next, Honorable Rahab Mukami, member for Nyeri County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Health regarding support for persons with cerebral palsy in the country. Honorable Speaker, in the past, stigma and discrimination were major barriers for persons with cerebral palsy. Such challenges were due to lack of awareness and the attribution of cerebral palsy to witchcraft. Consequently, many children with cerebral palsy were hidden and excluded from the society. These actions resulted in minimal government support, budget allocation, society outreach, and product services for intervention. However, persons with cerebral palsy are now coming out and interacting with the society, but still, we are not yet where we need to be supporting persons with cerebral palsy in Kenya. There are still gaps in health care, education, employment, support, and social participation that needed to be bridged. In addition, there is a need for continued effort to improve the lives of persons with cerebral palsy and their families, given that many children with cerebral palsy are born to young mothers who lack the necessary information on the condition and financial support, among others, to enable them to provide essential cares. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Health on the following. 1. What measures has the government put in place to increase awareness about the cerebral palsy, to equip the caregivers with the necessary information? 2. Could the chairperson explain efforts made by the government to increase the availability and affordability of cerebral palsy interventions, quality assessments, therapy services, assistive devices, medication, and basic essential? 3. Are there any support systems, such as financial, physical assistance provided by the government to enable the families to provide better care for persons with cerebral palsy? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman Health, Honorable Bukose, that request is to your committee. Were you even listening?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
I saw
I was
American
consulting
keeping you
with
so
the
busy.
I was consulting with the chair on a retreat to Kisumu, which they were putting this week, and yet we have the finance bill. But I want to assure the member that we can give a response in 2 weeks' time.
In 2 weeks?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Response to statements. Statement requested by Honorable Timothy Toroitich, Member Marakwet West. Honorable Tongoyo.
Mike, please. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In response to the said statement, I want to state as follows. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Marakwet West, Honorable Timothy Torotich, had sought a statement regarding the issue of National Police Reservists deployed in boundary-prone area. Honorable Speaker, the National Police Reservist assists the National Police Service to dispense its mandate, including maintenance of law and order and protection of life and property and law enforcement. The National Police Service Standing Order, Section 115, provides that reservist police officers shall pay as such remuneration and allowances as the National Police Service Commission shall, in consultation with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, determine. And Honorable Speaker, to be very specific, our NPR currently get a stipend of 5,000 monthly, which is paid to them. Honorable Speaker, NPR are recruited from the locals who are consistent with the local culture and terrain. The sub-county security, the process of doing it is as follows. The security sub-county committee, in collaboration with the local administration, identify potential candidates. After the committees identify such candidate, the minutes are sent to the county security committee for verification. Thereafter, sent to the KPS headquarters together with the fingerprints of the recruits candidates. The fingerprints are forwarded to DCI for further vetting. Clearance is received before the training commenced. Honorable Speaker, Article 110(7) of the NPC Act, revised 2014, stipulates that the Inspector General of Police undertake the training of police reservist officers to ensure that they are consistent with the relevant provision of the Constitution and this Act. Article 1, subsection 3 of the same provide that the reserve officers shall be enlisted and trained by the IG. The NPS standing orders provide that NPRS may undergo training, which include general police duties, weapon training, shooting, conflict resolution, and management, and the method of persuasion, care of specific victims. And the training is done at the county level. there exists a standard training syllabus which is used for all the training countrywide. Honorable Speaker, the NPR undergoes a mandatory 6 weeks training in arms handling, law and safety, after which successful trainees usually pass out through a police parade. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
Timothy Toroitich, you've heard the response. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, whereas I appreciate the response by the Chair Security, Honorable Chair, we have been informed and that the allowance payable to NPR is Kenya shillings 5,000. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, I would like to get exactly the frequency of payment. Are they paid on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, or on a yearly basis?
Tongoyo.
Honorable Speaker, I had indicated that they are paid monthly, a stipend of 5,000 monthly, which is also good to appreciate that it is a factor that the sector is looking into when the situation of the economy improves, where the discussions are underway to see how we can enhance them. But it is 5,000 and it's monthly.
Thank you. Next, a response to a request by the member for Kilgoris, Julius Ole Sunguli. Tongoy again. Is Sunguli in the house? Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the response to a statement sought by the MP for Kilgoris, my senior Honorable Julius Sunguli, I want to respond as follows. It is a question regarding the insecurity in Angata Barikoi. Honorable Speaker, there has been conflict among the Kurias, the Maasais, and the Kipsigs over the use and the ownership of Kailolong land. Indeed, there is a court case that is pending before the Nakuru High Court. Honorable Speaker, the government has taken the following measures to enhance the peace in the area. One is, of course, is the Peace Barasas and the Peace Building Initiative adopted by the government from time to time. The police station that has been put up in a place, Angata Barikoi Police Station, to help enhance security in the area. And it was established in a distributed land. The area member of parliament can attest to that. In the same area, Honorable Speaker, there have been a formation of several formed up units to include ASITU, that is an anti-stock police unit, GSU, and even rapid response unit to help the GSU and other form units to ensure that peace prevails in the area along the border. Honorable Speaker, the government has put up in place the following measures to ensure harmonious coexistence of all warring communities who border each other. The continuous engagement with local leaders, the increased police patrol to deter the criminals, the establishment of the peace committee, deployment of specialized units, as I earlier indicated, and we are in process, Honorable Speaker, even to provide vehicles to the same police stations and the the police there to enable them have their patrols whenever need arises. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Julius Sunguli, you satisfied with the response?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the chairman for that answer. But, Mr. Chairman, the case in court is not between the people of Angata and the Kuria people. It is between the Maasai people of Lolgorian and the Kipsigis people of Angata. So, the Kuria are not in any land dispute with anybody there. So I think that the ministry should give a better answer and tell us what is the analysis about the true cause of this fight? And secondly, could the chairman confirm that one of the biggest problems we have there is that there are no vehicles, as you have just said, and that vehicles for the OCPD Lolgorian are going to be provided as soon as possible. But if the ministry treats this as a land dispute between the Kuria and the people of Angata, then they have it wrong. They have to identify who exactly is disputing the land, because the Kurias have not gone to court against the Kipsigis people who live in Angata.
Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate, of course, the concern of the Member of Parliament. And for record, I also come from the same county, and I understand the dynamics and the historical land equation in that area. And Mr. Sunguli, even previously, as when he was practicing law, he may have even probably handled some land dispute cases along the area. But I want to say, Mr. Speaker, with his help and other actually players in the area, the ministry is going to look into and go deeper, looking into the question. But Mr. Sunguli, the MP, you all know the dynamic and the question in the issue of the land in that area. Because behind the issue of the Kurias, the issue of the Kalenjin and the people in Logorian, there is even a long-standing problem between the Western Gishu and the Syria. And those problems are correlated in a manner. But I want to give an assurance that we are going to speed up the investigation if need be. If there are people who are behind this, the government is not going to hesitate to take action. I'd also mentioned that I know there has been a problem about mobility of our police officers to respond to distress calls. You have noted that there is a 10 billion shilling in the just read budget to look into the issue of leasing of police vehicles. And Kilgoris is one of the counties, and specifically sub-counties, which are going to benefit from the leasing of the vehicle to the police. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kitayama. Member for Kuria East. Give Honorable Kitayama the microphone. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the answer that I've just heard is a true misrepresentation of facts on the ground and a perpetuation of escapism that all governments have been doing around that area. Honorable Speaker, the problem in that area is known by everybody, including the one who asked this question. This problem must be traced from the 1660s, when the migration of people was happening in this country. And Honorable Speaker, the 2010 Constitution did give us instruments through constitutional bodies that would address historical land injustices. And that is why the National Land Commission was set up. Honorable Speaker, it is on record, even in this House, that as early as the time that the Laikipia migration was happening, back during the colonial days, that is when the resettlement that happened in Transmara-Kuria border started causing these problems that are here. And everybody knows that they are just playing to the gallery by escaping the facts. Mr. Speaker, it is also true that the TJRC commission that was set up to look into these issues documented this problem very extensively. And even after the TJRC report, the National Land Commission has listened to the complaints of the people of Kuria and the complaints of the people from Kilgoris and the people of the Maasai in that area. So, Honorable Speaker, it is unfair for us to continue receiving answers that are not solving the problem. And it is also not true that the people of Kuria are not in court. The honorable member knows that in Kilgoris, there is a running court case around this matter. In Nakuru, there is a running court case around this matter. He himself knows he has appeared before the National Land Commission and over this same matter. The National Land Commission is even continuously, is as we speak, reviewing this matter. So, Honorable Speaker, this answer is not helpful. It is not an answer that is meant to help the communities that are out there. And Honorable Speaker, there is no such thing as the Kuria having no rights there. The Kuria have documented rights. If you go to the National Archives, you will find the agreements that were written by the colonial governments during that, and there is no government that gets, governments exist in perpetuity. So the colonial government did record the agreements. The people of Kuria are rightfully claiming that land, and the matter is being frustrated by senior government officials over the years. Every government that has been in this country since independence has continuously frustrated the rights that the people of Kuria have been laying over this. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, you are not being told that in 2019, the National Land Commission did award the Kuria community that said piece of land. And it's only 20,000 acres. And the National Land Commission, if you go to the Kenya Gazette, it did the Kenya Gazette, January 2019. The people of Kuria were awarded by none other than a commission of this country, a legal commission, the National Land Commission. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a scheme to keep this matter in court and continue frustrating the people of Kuria, purporting that they have no rights to live in Rift Valley. In Tanzania, the people of Kuria live in Tanzania, in Rift Valley. In other jurisdictions...
You've made your point.
Yes, Your Honorable Speaker, and we cannot continue having... And Honorable Speaker, it can also be traced in 1989, when...
You've made your point, Kitayama. Tongoyo, are you misleading the House?
Mr. Speaker.
Hold on, Tongoyo. Let's hear Sunguli first. Sunguli.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, in view of the comments by my friend, a very dear friend of mine, Honorable Kitayama, isn't it now in order that you direct the chairman to come up with a more researched answer? Because, Mr. Speaker, when I walked into this house, I did not know that the Kuria people of Kuria district, of Migori County, are out on an act of aggression, and that they claim land which is in Transmara. Isn't it in order for the chairman to ask the government to come up with a clear boundary between Migori County and Narok County, because we all live in our own homes, and where people are going to trace their historical rights, that we are not going to get to the bottom of the problem, and we are not going to get an answer. So can you direct the chairman that he has not answered this question, and that let him go and get a more researched answer which is satisfactory and which will dissuade my colleagues from Kuria from claiming the land from in Transmara?
Yes, Kitayama. And this time, take less time. Give Kitayama the mic.
Honorable Speaker, the Constitution of this country allows anybody to buy land anywhere within the jurisdiction of this country. History has recorded how the people of Kuria acquired that land. It is in the records of government. It is in the records. And this is not a matter of Migori County or Transmara or Rift Valley County. This is a matter that our people own land in any other part of this country. Whether that part will be in Rift Valley, there is nowhere in the Constitution that says that the people of Kuria can only be in Migori. And if there is such, I would like to be shown. The same way, that all other communities reside in Rift Valley, they reside in Nyanza, they reside in other regions, is the same way that the people of Kuria have a right to reside in Rift Valley. So and he himself, he knows. His own farm, there are people of Kuria who reside on his own farm. He knows that. The people of Mashangwa are Kuria people who live in Rift Valley. So he cannot now turn around and say that though the Kuria people can only be found in Migori. In Tanzania, we are found everywhere. In Rift Valley, in Mara, in everywhere, in every part. And Mr. Speaker, we are not going to be subjected to that kind of warmongering, which started in 1989. And we all know who are the leaders in that time when the people of Kuria were flushed from their land in that area that is called Muyui. And this is a fact that is recorded very, very well. It has been properly prosecuted, and I'm ready, Honorable Speaker, if this House was to set up even a tribunal to look into it, and you'll be surprised, Mr. Speaker, who will live with egg on face over this matter.
Tongoyo. Order, Sunguli, this cannot be a ping pong between you and Kitamaya. Okay, Sunguli.
So, Speaker, this is not about the Kuria who live in Transmara. The Kuria who live in Transmara live in a place called Mashangwa. They are my voters, and their rights are protected. These aggressors to Angata are people from a village called Nyanderema who are voters of my colleague there. They live in a different county. They don't have title on any land. And I do not want to say that the Constitution says this or that. The Constitution is very clear that if you have land, then you have property over it. And a tribe does not come in. But I'm not talking about the people of Mashangwa. The people of Mashangwa have rights. They have land. We are giving them more locations. We are giving them more sub-locations. We are giving them a road, and they are very well protected. The people of Nyanderema have no rights on the land of other people. The land belongs to the people of Angata.
Order. Order. Both of you are actually saying the same thing. The chairman of the committee said the land in issue as a contest between people from the Kipsigis community, the Maasai community, and the Kuria community. If you need more details, go to the committee and prosecute your case. Tongoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, listening keenly to the both members of parliament, it is just confirming what I had earlier said, that the whole problem has been an issue of ownership of land, and it has got a very long history. Mr. Speaker, on issues as complex as this, it goes beyond the mandate of security alone. It is a cross-cutting issue. It touches on issues of land dealt within the Ministry of Land, and actually many times also call for a political solution, that such leaders and all of us may occasionally or at times need to be called upon to help address the problem. So what I want to say, Mr. Speaker, let the leadership between the Sunguli and all of us and the people concerned able to look in an amicable way to address the problem, because it goes beyond a security issue. It touches land, it touches on the issue of boundaries. There are several cases in court talking into the same. So, Mr. Speaker, maybe I will suggest that depends on you can guide that we let the leaders able to see whether we can able to look a situation where we can able to address at a higher level, that all the players, including the Ministry of Land, the administration and political class, to sit down and look for a lasting solution into this problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Wandai.
You know, Honorable Speaker, I have listened keenly to the response from the very able chair of National Security Committee, my friend Honorable Tongoyo. But I am left wondering because, you know, this House, under Article 95 of the Constitution, is mandated to resolve issues that concern the people. That issue is serious from the way I'm able to get to decipher. It's an issue that can potentially evolve into a problem, a bigger problem, if not addressed with the seriousness it deserves. It's an issue concerning 3 large communities, the Kuria, the Kipsigis, and the Maasai. Honorable Speaker, would I be in order to suggest perhaps that this issue goes beyond the committee of my friend Honorable Tongoyo, and perhaps with your guidance, we set up a mechanism, be it a committee, be it a tribunal, whatever it is, to address that conflict in an expeditious manner. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, history might judge us very harshly as a House that we sat on a matter which could have been resolved, and yet we left it to snowball into something unmanageable. That's my take, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Owen Baya.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know I also serve as chairman of minority groups. And my advice is, through your guidance, that you set a select committee of, or an ad hoc committee of Parliament from members from this area so that they can sit and look at an amicable solution instead of looking at a more administrative solution, but they look at a communal, they look at a solution that is participatory. Because the Constitution of Kenya also allows us to have an ADR, an alternative dispute mechanism. And that, therefore, will give the people of Kuria, the Kipsigis, the Maasai, an opportunity to sit down as elders to get a solution instead of a more administrative solution that may not be acceptable to all. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tongoyo, you come from the county where this issue is coming from. I would advise you that you have a session in your committee with the 2 members, and if you want to escalate the matter, you can involve the Lands Committee to see how to resolve the matter without raising passions. Minority Leader and Owen Baya, if you want to set up a committee, you know the procedure. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, resolution to hold a Thursday morning sitting.
Honorable Majority Leader, where is Ichungwa?
Proceed. No, the leader is here. Let me come and do it to himself. Proceed.
Majority Leader, move your procedural motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 33C, this House resolves to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, 20th June 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for purposes of considering priority business. Honorable Speaker, this is on behalf of the House Business Committee that met this afternoon, earlier this afternoon, and the House Business Committee considered bringing this resolution and, through this procedural motion to allow members adequate time, Honorable Speaker, to debate without anticipating debate the finance bill of 2024-2025, which we expect to be tabled in the course of this sitting by the Chair of Finance. And also, Honorable Speaker, considering that many members are very interested in contributing to the debate on the finance bill, we thought it would be wise to have a morning sitting on Thursday. We will have tomorrow the whole day from 9:30 all the way up to 9 p.m. Then we also allow members Thursday morning, Honorable Speaker, as you directed during the House Business Committee earlier today, we have up to 5 p.m. on Thursday for debate of the second reading of that bill. Honorable Speaker, there is also priority business in considering the Senate amendments to the IEBC bill. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, there are 2 constituencies that still have no representation in this House and are bound to have by-elections, but we cannot do that because we do not have an IEBC commission. And therefore, it's imperative that we consider the amendments that were done to that bill by the other house, consider them, and if we agree with them, then that bill can be assented into law, and we kick off the process of the recruitment of new IEBC commissioners. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg members to support and agree with the House Business Committee that we do have that Thursday morning sitting, and I wish to request the Leader of Minority, who is also a member of the House Business Committee, to second. I beg to move.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to second the motion, but I want to add the following. Obviously, members from across the political divide would want adequate time to be able to contribute to the matter of the finance bill at the second reading stage. And that's why it was in the wisdom of the House Business Committee that we allocate enough sitting days. That is Wednesday morning, tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, and possibly Thursday afternoon, for members to be able to contribute effectively and for their constituents to get to know where they stand on this very important matter. Honorable Speaker, secondly, I want to agree that the matter of the IBC is so crucial. Honorable Speaker, we now have two constituencies that have got no representation in this House. That is Banisa constituency in Mandera County and Magarini constituency in Kilifi County. Honorable Speaker, the case of Banisa constituency is very sad, extremely sad, that they have lacked representation in this House from March last year, Honorable Speaker. And you all know, Honorable Speaker, the procedures for reconstituting the IBC, even after this bill is finally enacted into law, is going to take some time, Honorable Speaker. Maybe 4 months or so, Honorable Speaker. So I think it is in order, therefore, that we approve this motion. But as soon as we do so, I have been trying to scan around. I can't see the chair of the Committee on Finance in the House, and yet I've been waiting eagerly to lay my hands on the report of the committee. Because this morning, we were treated to some very juicy news by Honorable Kimani Chungwa and the chair from State House about certain measures they have taken on the finance bill. But as I always say, the taste of the pudding lies in the eating. Until and unless we see the report of the committee containing those very far-reaching amendments that we were made to understand what have been made, we cannot be sure, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, we want to see that report eagerly. We are waiting here eagerly to see that report and to dissect it and to go through it with a tooth comb before we can make informed decisions, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, with those preliminary remarks, I support the motion. Thank you. I second, sorry.
You second. Order, honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 33C, this House resolves to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, 20th June 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for purposes of considering priority business. I put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 33C, this House resolves to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, 20th June 2024, commencing at 9 a.m. for purposes of considering priority business. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, procedural motion, reduction of publication period or specified bill.
Majority, no, Chairman, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Dindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 120, that this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2024, from 7 days to 5 days. Honorable Speaker, the essence of this is because the calendar that we have now between today and next week is very tight. We'll be discussing very major and far-reaching policy instruments in this House, and especially the Finance Bill alongside the Appropriations Act or Bill. And Honorable Speaker, the essence of this is for us to meet the timelines as we move to the close of this financial year by end of this month. And Honorable Speaker, at the same time, we have still given ample time even for members to peruse and interrogate the appropriation bill, because Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, these two processes that we'll be having are intertwined. And the reason we have decided that we have the appropriation bill after the finance bill is because this is a very democratic House and the country is very democratic, and we want us to first trace where the monies are coming from even before we finalize on the appropriation bill, so that whatever members may feel around the appropriation, the finance bill, can also be taken care of in the appropriations bill, Honorable Speaker, so that we are able to balance our revenue and expenditure. And I am hopeful that we'll be looking at these matters in a very objective manner, because we are all, Honorable Speaker, looking forward into the many programs that we have undertaken to complete and undertake. For example, electricity in our constituencies will be getting 50 million per constituency, and all the others, including the increment in the agricultural sector, in the CDF, and all the other elements that are very important for service delivery in regards to the Kenyan people. Also, the monies that we are appropriating to our counties, which is 400.1 billion shillings, is also hedged, Honorable Speaker, on this bill, but alongside this bill, also the revenue side, which is the motion that is a heavy motion before us, which will be moved by the chairman, Honorable Kimani Kuria. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request that the Honorable, the very able Didimas Barasa, the man of Kofia, to second this motion.
Didimas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second this motion, and just like the chair has explained, it's very, in very good term, very clear terms, Honorable Speaker. We have a lot that this House is going to process, and most importantly, we must meet the timeline, considering that we are coming to the end of this financial year. And Honorable Speaker, this House is youthful. We are able to go through the finance bill, and we'll be able to understand where these monies are coming from. Without much ado, Honorable Speaker, I beg to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Didimas. Order, Honorable Commissioner Makau. Order. Commissioner Makau, freeze or take the nearest seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2024, from 7 days to 5 days. You put the question? Yes, Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, I see no merit in reducing the dates or the days that we have in this bill. The number of days we are talking about, this bill is already published, but it is 5 days old. In fact, if we then reduce it, then it becomes ripe, which in number 10, you then can see it can be put before the House
to be read a first time. So actually, mathematically, what we are talking about is 2 days. We have already passed a resolution to discuss tomorrow, to discuss the issues concerning the finance bill tomorrow. And Honorable Speaker, the majority leader just let us know from the House business you have directed that this can go between tomorrow up to Thursday. So actually, we then can properly examine this bill if it were to be, if it were to take the 7 days on Tuesday next week, quite properly. It would have taken 7 days in the normal manner of things, and we would then begin debate on it on Wednesday, on Tuesday. Now, Mr. Speaker, for us to accept this, a person moving the bill or the person seconding must give us reasons. The only reason I have had is that we are going to discuss very important bills. But there is nothing which takes away, because the 7 days is for the common person to interact with the bill, as well as the member representing that person to interact with this bill. And so if there is no reason other than the fact that we are going to discuss some very important issues in the course of today and tomorrow, the chair of budget has not given us a very good reason for which we have to extend these dates. I submit.
Honorable Kajwang, you are a member of House Business Committee, aren't you? And you know that allocating the finance bill, the number of days that we did, does not mean it will consume all the days. In case it ends early, then this motion becomes relevant, but it's entirely up to the House. Can I put the question now? I now put the question, which is that pursuant the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2024, from 7 days to 5 days. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Then the ayes have it. Honorable members, you're calling the next order? Honorable members, as we go to the next order, it is expected that the chairman of the Finance Committee, member for Molo, will be tabling his report or his committee report this afternoon. I have not seen it yet. I have to approve it to be tabled, so when I recess, I'll have to perform that function. Once that is done, the report will be available at the table office. I encourage each and every honorable member to get the report either from the table office physically or on the parliamentary web. Read through it properly. Upon doing so, we have allocated time as follows. Tomorrow morning from 9:30, the finance bill will be moved by the committee chairman. It will be open to debate the whole of tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, you have just approved a sitting for Thursday morning. And remember that tomorrow you will sit up to 9:30 or 9 in the night. On Thursday morning, we'll again sit on the finance bill, and House Business Committee has directed that we will then vote on that bill on Thursday afternoon. Committee of the Whole on the same bill will come on Tuesday afternoon. Those of you who want to file any amendments, and I've seen some, I've in fact approved some, although it will be more decent and proper to file your amendments after reading the report to see whether you are proposing amendments that have already been dealt with by the committee. I have directed the clerk that the closure for submitting amendments will be on Thursday at 1 p.m. So those of you who want to file an amendments upon reading the report and the bill, ensure that you file your amendments at or before Thursday, 1 p.m. Thereafter, you'll be time barred, and don't say you are not given proper direction. I hope that when the bill is debated from tomorrow, you will debate from an informed position on the content of the bill, the content of the report, and what you desire the bill to be. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 10, the appropriation bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to authorize the issuance of a sum of money out of the consolidated fund and its application towards the service of the year ending on 30th June 2025, and to appropriate that sum and a sum voted on account by the National Assembly for certain public services and purposes.
Next order.
Order number 11, the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, Senate Bill number 19 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the additional allocations to county governments for the year 2024-2025, for the 2024-2025 financial year, the responsibilities of the national government and county governments pursuant to such allocation and for connected purposes. Order number 12, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 25 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the equitable allocation of revenue raised nationally among the county governments for the 2024-2025 financial year, the responsibilities of national and county governments pursuant to such allocation and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 13, the Care and Protection of Child Parents Bill, Senate Bill number 29 of 2023, second reading.
Beatrice Kemei, you are the co-sponsor of that Senate bill. It's now your time to move the bill. Give her the mic. A functioning mic, there you are.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Care and Protection of Child Parents Bill 2023, the Senate Bill number 29 of 2023 be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, the principal objective of the bill is to provide a legal framework for the care and protection of child parents within the counties. The framework is intended to ensure that an expectant child or a child parent may actualize their right to basic education and at the same time ensure proper care of their children and as enshrined in Article 53 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, 61 years since Kenya gained its independence from colonial rule, child pregnancies remain a huge concern. as they not only affect the child's ability to continue with their education, but they also impact on the government's effort in reducing poverty levels in the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey conducted in 2022, noted that 15% of adolescent women between 15 and 19 years have ever been pregnant, with 12% having given birth, 1% experiencing pregnancy loss, and 3% being pregnant with their first child. Kenya National Bureau of Standards further noted that the number of teenage pregnancies is higher in rural areas, particularly in pastoralist communities, compared to urban areas. It further noted that teen pregnancies decline as the level of education rises, and loss, and 3% being pregnant with their first child. Kenya National Bureau of Standards further noted that the number of teenage pregnancies is higher